Thank you for giving me the floor. I have the honor of presenting you with the preliminary results of the TACT clinical trial comparing the efficacy and safety of triple artemisinin-based combination therapies compared to conventional ACTs for the treatment of uncomplicated malaria in Niger. ACTs largely contributed to the reduction of malaria mortality and morbidity over the last 10 years, yet those benefits are threatened by the emergence of resistance to artemisinin in Southeast Asia and also currently in Africa, where that resistance was confirmed in Rwanda and Uganda. This is a major emergency when it comes to controlling malaria. In order to do that, several strategies were suggested, like using very different ACTs as a first-line treatment in a single country, or often changing first-line ACTs. But those strategies are complicated when it comes to supplying the supply chain and the training of health personnel. So the other strategy would be to add a second partner molecule like we do for TB or HIV. But for that, we have to demonstrate their efficacy and their safety, because if we put more molecules in the treatment, we will trigger more adverse events. So it's a multi-center random trial on a big scale, including 8 countries in Africa and 2 Asian countries, to compare the efficacy and safety of triple ACTs compared with conventional ACTs. Funds from the UK Aid Development Office, from the United Kingdom and the University of Oxford. Here are the results only for the Niger site. So it's a randomized, partially blinded, placebo-controlled clinical trial. In Niger, we enrolled 432 participants, age 6 months to 12 years of age. All of them were diagnosed for uncomplicated P. falciparum malaria. Each therapy or triple ACT is compared directly with a second standard drug treatment plus a placebo. So we have triple ACT, artemether lumefantrine plus amodiaquine compared with artemether lumefantrine plus placebo. And then we have artesunate mefloquine plus piperacin that we compared with artesunate mefloquine plus placebo. Comparisons were made between triple ACTs and standard ACTs, conventional ACTs. The children enrolled had uncomplicated malaria along with their families. They accepted to go to the hospital for 3 days to make it easier for blood sampling and for the proper administration of the drugs. Then they were followed up during 9 weeks. To judge the efficacy, we looked at the efficacy at day 42, PCR-corrected efficacy we looked at. In children who clinically are cured, if they have a second malaria episode, we do a PCR to check whether it's a relapse of the original infection or a brand new infection. We don't have the PCR-corrected results yet, which limits us in our interpreting of the results we've got so far. As you can see on the upper curve, nearly all the participants were recruited during seasons of high transmission of malaria. In total, 8 participants only didn't finish the 63 days of follow-up of the study, and unfortunately we had 1 death. So roughly 98% of the participants went all the way through the study and all the procedures of the study. They finished it. And here, the profile of participants was similar between the two arms. Here are PCR uncorrected efficacy results. For AL plus AQ, 91% of the triple ACTs, compared with 98% for ASMQ plus PPQ. The prophylactic effect with that is shorter than with the other molecules. This is alarming, but probably the trend will be more reassuring with the PCR corrected results. And in the other arm, the PCR uncorrected efficacy for triple ACT, ASMQ plus PPQ was 98%, compared with 96% for ASMQ plus placebo. And we measured the temperature of the children every 6 hours when they were hospitalized, and the parasite clearance was estimated by looking at the drop in the parasite density on blood smears done consecutively. We can see that the fever ended in a similar fashion at a similar time between both arms, and the parasite clearance was also similar between the two arms. That was for AL, and ASMQ, same thing. Fever resolution time was similar between both arms. Same thing for parasite clearance. So as a whole, the PCR uncorrected efficacy results appear to be reassuring when it comes to the efficacy of artemisinin in Niger, in Maradi. During this trial in Maradi, 7 participants had severe undesirable side effects. One was probably related to the drug used in the study, another one also possibly related. The 5 others were not related to the administration of the medicine under study. Unfortunately, we had a case of death, possible septicemia and malaria, but that's not in link with the results of the study investigation. We followed up the participants for hepatic and renal abnormalities. Grade 1 and 2 are the lighter ones, 3 and 4 higher grades. Even with ALAQ standard, hepatic and renal events are very frequent, and the proportion of severity was pretty similar. It's what's happening with the medicines we currently use, but in our daily practice, we don't check that. We don't analyze blood samples of participants with simple malaria. Uncomplicated. Same trend with ASMQ or ASMQ plus PPQ. Secondary adverse side effects, the most frequent ones with standard ACTs are vomiting, particularly post-administration of the treatment. You have to observe these vomiting events if you add a third molecule, and be careful. In AL plus AQ, 5% of doses called for readmission and readministration because of vomiting versus 3% for AL plus placebo. Vomiting events were noticed in 3% of the doses in the ASMQ plus PPQ arm, and 2% required another treatment in the ASMQ plus placebo arm. Several partner molecules have an impact on the pace of the heart, so we had to follow up that potential toxicity for triple ACT. So we did electrocardiographic recordings 4 times during the follow-up period before administering the drugs, 3 hours after, 3 days after, and at day 42, respectively. Thus, in the triple ACT's arms, QTC interval increased more frequently than with standard conventional ACTs. However, in no case QTC increased 500 milliseconds, which is the threshold associated with severe arrhythmia events. This is a reassuring result. Niger, in this trial, was the first site to finish enrolling the enrolling process. The results we're presenting are not PCR corrected, but some trends appear, like a lack of delay in the parasite clearance, no resistance to artemisinin on the Niger side. Also, the trends suggest a better prophylactic post-treatment profile with triple ACT compared with AL only, because the half-life of amodiaquine is shorter than lumefantrine. More importantly, to scale up with triple ACTs, the safety profile is reassuring, both in terms of biochemical measures or post-treatment vomiting events, or the lengthening of the QTC. Some results are pending, particularly PCR-corrected efficacy results and also pharmacokinetic results, and we're also waiting for the results from the other sides, which hopefully will come and complete those results and will highlight, we also hope, the efficacy, but mostly the safety of triple ACTs as a strategy to control resistance to anti-malarial drugs. And finally, I'd like to sincerely thank all the participants in the study and their parents, to the health authorities in Niger, to the Epicentre team, coordination and field team, and to all the partners who contributed to this study. Many thanks.